I've beat Uncharted 4. I can't believe I'm saying those words because I've been looking forward to this game ever since the PlayStation 4 was announced as our new platform to play this thing on. And Naughty Dog has done it again. I don't think you're surprised by that. Sony and PlayStation have given these guys a lot of resources to make the ultimate Uncharted game. I really believe that they have. They've built a beautiful story crafted around, honestly, one of my favorite characters in fiction and all of the supporting characters that surround Nathan Drake. I'm also in love with, including his new brother that we get to kind of discover through some origin type sequences in this game, Sam Drake. I think the relationship between Sam and Nathan is absolutely remarkable and wonderful, and not only drives the narrative forward, but also really creates an excellent new sort of gameplay. It would be terrific if there was a next level version of this Uncharted that we got where we could play a little co-op through some of this stuff, because these characters and their interplay and their camaraderie and their support for each other, a terrific thing to see. But I think the only thing missing is that ability to actually recreate that in real life and play a game like this with your buddy or your brother or your sister. But as a single player, story-driven experience, it's pretty hard to top this. And honestly, I think the only game that might top this in terms of interactive story might be The Last of Us, because of its complexity and maturity and ambiguity. Now, it's really clear to see that Uncharted 4 has benefited from where Naughty Dog took us with The Last of Us. But again, this is a T-rated adventure game, and it's really kind of focused on a kind of a cartoony slant, obviously evoking the Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of vibe, that sort of adventure serial stuff that we used to see in the 30s and 40s and the 80s. So I think that they have nailed that charm. But there is a little bit of a trap there, because as far as this game gets us with its story and its complexity and the sort of new character beats and the surprises, there are some terrific surprises in this thing, it still is confined by the cartoonishness of this world that Naughty Dog has crafted for us. And that means that Nathan Drake is a homicidal maniac once again. I killed 734 people in my playthrough. They were all T-rated deaths, so there's no actual repercussions or ramifications or Nathan Drake being carted off to jail like Hannibal Lecter or anything like that. And that's honestly what would happen in the world of something like The Last of Us. But in something like the Uncharted franchise, he just goes and continues on his merry way. Back to Elena Fisher, who is probably not pleased with his antics, and that's a little bit of their dynamic. I'm not going to reveal too much. I'm not going to spoil any of the story stuff. I know that everybody wants to experience this on their own for the first time and be surprised, and I definitely recommend that you do that. I do feel like I wanted to be a little bit more surprised by some of the game mechanics and systems. I feel like we get a lot of the kind of setup for what we're going to do through the game, within 2 hours, 3 hours of playing the game. It's absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. Everywhere you look, you're just in awe of the detail and the love that's on display. I mean, footprints on the sand. You've got, all of this foliage moving out of your way as you're walking through it. Vistas that are going to take your breath away. You're going to be using that photo mode like crazy. But I did feel like I was climbing and jumping and swinging and shooting and killing people in cover as I walk through sort of high bushes and things like that. A little bit too much of that rinse and repeat type gameplay. And it was hard for me not to recall the sort of shakeup of systems and the iteration of new ideas and augmenting the game design a little bit that Tomb Raider has been doing in its last 2 iterations. And I kind of wished a little bit more for that, And it was also hard for me not to think of the open world complexity of Grand Theft Auto 5, the crazy amounts of detail and choice in something like Batman Arkham Knight. And I know these are different games. I know that there's no direct correlation, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Uncharted's value. I just, as a super fan, and I think if you've been watching our shows for a while and you've seen me talk about Uncharted, you know how much I love this franchise and these characters. I just wish that I had been a little bit more surprised by the single-player gameplay. I was surprised by the depth and the diversity in the play space and the amounts of different ways that we could traverse through areas or drive through areas. But it's not open world. you know? And when you look at something like Grand Theft Auto 5 that is open world and also gives you all of this freedom of choice with its play design, or even Arkham Knight where you're gliding and swinging and using all kinds of gadgets. I know, totally different games, it's not really fair to talk about them. It doesn't disappoint, but it's something that is definitely appropriate to discuss, is the fact that Uncharted 4 doesn't really shock like Uncharted 2 did, you know? And Uncharted 3 was almost a bit of a disappointment and a step back from Uncharted 2 because of Uncharted 2's out of nowhere, you know, shaking up the whole gaming industry with all of its unbelievably clever design. And Uncharted 4, what the developers really tried to do is finesse it and make its sort of epic scale moments feel more grounded and realistic and truthful and almost in line with the narrative kind of story choice that they were doing throughout the whole game. And I applaud all of those decisions, because it does make it feel like one cohesive, barely escape with your life type of experience, but in its sort of memorable, never forget, pop out of nowhere type moments, like climbing up a destroyed train in the beginning of Uncharted 2, they're not quite there like they in Uncharted 4 like they were in Uncharted 2. And yes, you're going to do all of that fun stuff, but it does feel like you've seen some of this stuff before. Now, that's not taking away from the enjoyment of that moment. I still had a huge, big grin on my face the entire way through. And I was reveling in the performances of Nolan North and Troy Baker especially. I can't believe that they got both of these guys, these honestly super heroic voice actors and performance capture actors in the video game space on screen together. They're terrific together.
It's about your height, a little bit leaner, definitely less gray in the temples.
Sam?
It's good to see you again, Nathan.
God, Sam.
Oh, all right. Take it easy.
And I have to also factor in the multiplayer, although for my money, Uncharted has always been about that single-player experience. And I sound like I'm quibbling, and I think that I can only stand here and quibble at all because of how much I love these games and how much I value Naughty Dog's contributions to the industry. Do I think you should get this thing? 100%. Is it my favorite single-player experience in the Uncharted space? No, that honor still goes to Uncharted 2. But man, this is excellent stuff. This is a score I'm going to give only to the single-player because I honestly haven't played the multiplayer stuff enough, and I'll review that separately. But as far as the Uncharted 4 single-player campaign goes, when I stack it up against the other 3 games, or the other 4 games if you include Golden Abyss, this is my second favorite in the Uncharted games. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.